Hello everyone, and welcome to Sunup. I'm Lyndall Stout. Oklahoma's wheat harvest is pretty much in the books. For a harvest debrief and to look at some of the research, we're joined by David Marburger, our Extension small grain specialist. David, why don't you just kind of start with how it all went and kind of where we are now as things are winding down?
Yeah, well, kind of as we were progressing here through the spring and with it being so cool, we thought maybe we'd have a little bit later harvest, but we went from the second coldest April on record to the warmest May on record. So even though we were behind developmentally, we really made up a lot of ground there, and actually harvest got started maybe on a more of a normal time, if not maybe just a little bit ahead of schedule. And with just the lower overall amount of acres to harvest this year due to abandonment, etc., harvest has gone pretty quickly. Overall, we had very early on, we had very good conditions to get the crop off. So just with that and with the lower amount of acres, we've really progressed harvest here quickly. And then now here towards the end of June, we've been starting to get some rains in some pockets that still need to get that weed out. But overall, we are on the downhill slide here towards the finish line with the 2018 wheat harvest.
Of the wheat that has come into the elevator, what's been kind of the overall picture in terms of quality, yields, just in general in Oklahoma for producers? What are you hearing?
So a lot of the yields kind of as expected, below average. A lot of reports in that 15 to 30 bushel range. Some coming in higher though. Those producers who were fortunate enough to catch a rain or maybe some time, other timely rains there in the spring, coming in with a little bit higher yield. A lot of elevators, you hear reports taking in a lot less grain than they normally do, as expected, even some as low as maybe 10 to 15% of what they normally do. So that kind of sums up kind of the yield there. The test weights overall have been pretty good throughout harvest. A lot of test weights coming in that 60 pound range plus. With some of the rains here recently, we might start to see a little bit of hit on that with some of that final wheat that needs to be coming out.
And as we've heard from Dr. Anderson the last couple of weeks, prices kind of started to rise at the right time as well. Let's talk about some of your research now. You've got variety trials, different points across the state. Where are you in terms of harvest and what some of that data kind of look like?
Well, fortunately, we've had a pretty good harvest in the program as well. No, everything's kind of going smoothly so far, no breakdowns. So we've been able to get a lot of these trials off. Overall, pretty as timely as we can try to get to them. And a lot of that data is available now on our homepage, the wheat.okstate.edu website. As it kind of stands right now, varieties like a Bentley have been doing very well. A Joe out of Kansas, WB 4269. As you move further north, varieties like SY Monument out towards northwest into the Panhandle, those that are adapted more for that area, like a Langan out of Colorado, the LCS Mint, those are the varieties that have been doing pretty well. So it's been pretty tough conditions overall. Those varieties that were able to make it through the drought, make it through those freezes, still be able to put on heads at the end of the day, and then still be able to finish given those pretty tough grain fill conditions that we went through in May. Those are the varieties that are really shining, at least in our variety trials.
Well, these years, obviously are pretty crummy for growers, but they really give some insight for researchers, don't they?
Mm-hmm. We can always learn something, even in a bad year.
Okay. In a nutshell, how would you sum up harvest in a couple of words this year?
How would I sum up harvest?
Yeah.
Overall, pretty smooth. Okay. Not quite what we were hoping in terms of yield, but the harvest itself, pretty smooth. You want to sum up the year in general, I'd probably describe it as tough.
Okay. Thanks a lot, David.
Thank you.